Today we're publishing a report on the foster care system in England and Wales, which argues that we need to be much more ambitious about the sorts of outcomes we want for some of the most needy and disadvantaged children in our society. The report outlines a number of key failures in the foster care system in England and Wales. First of these, there just aren't enough foster carers in the system. Previous reports have outlined that there's between an 8,000 and 10,000 shortage in foster care homes in England and Wales. The second problem is that local authorities are often forced into putting costs ahead of the needs of the child. Both of these things mean that there's a shortage of numbers of foster carers and a shortage in the variety of foster care placements that are available. In a system where children are coming into care with often complex needs, it's essential that we have that kind of variety in placements so we can match up the needs of the child with an appropriate carer. The report then goes on to talk about how we can actually tackle some of these problems. First and foremost, we need much more clarity over how foster carers are compensated for the costs which they incur when they take on foster children. At the moment, a large number of foster carers don't get paid a fee, and we think that this is leading to a huge shortage in carers. What we want to see is a nationalised framework of fees which is based on the skills and the qualities that foster carer has. This means that you can match the numbers of foster carers with different skills and qualifications to the needs that local authorities might have. For instance, a child with very, very complex needs, whether they be emotional, mental or physical needs, could need 24-hour-a-day care. And that then could be provided by the very top tier of foster carers who are formally salaried for year round. The second area which we think is really important is that local authorities have to start using private and charitable organisations to help deliver a diversity of placements. This brings more foster carers into the system, and it also means that there's a much greater likelihood of matching a child with quite complex needs with the right kind of placement. Finally, it's essential that local authorities are held to account. These are the organisations which are responsible for the fostering system in England and Wales, and currently our freedom of information requests showed that they don't actually have a full understanding of the system. Many of them were unable to tell us how many children had waiting for a placement which met their needs, and many of them told us that that information was just going to be too costly for them to collect. But without that kind of information, they have no idea what kind of carers they're going to need to recruit in the future. For this reason, we're recommending that local authorities are much more open and transparent about the results they're getting from the fostering system, about how many children they have waiting for a placement that meets their needs. And finally, that the Secretary of State takes the powers and actually uses the powers to hold local authorities to account. This means that when a local authority is seen to be failing, the Secretary of State can come in and say, actually, we're going to take away your responsibility for this area and give it to another local authority, or indeed to a private or charitable organisation to deliver better for you. Ultimately, both of these areas, in ensuring that there's better and more foster carers in the system, and that we can actually start to use the charities and private sector providers who are expert in helping some of these people with the highest needs, and that we hold local authorities to account, will mean more foster carers and better outcomes for foster children in the UK.